we had last week, we got the news of a pretty shocking case where a 30-year-old woman was found guilty of the murder of her 3-week-old daughter. Very disturbing and upsetting case. We'll go through some of the details here, but can you just tell me a wee bit more about Nicole Blain and when she's liable to be sentenced?
Yeah, it's a very disturbing and distressing case. Following a trial at the High Court in Glasgow, Nicole Blain, she's a 30-year-old woman. She was convicted of murdering her 19-day-old baby daughter at their home in Greenock in July 2023. The young baby suffered a string of what was described as catastrophic injuries, including 3 skull fractures, brain damage, and bleeding behind the ears.
I think I saw that it was compared to car crash.
Yeah,
Was
that's right.
the
There
word
was,
that was
I think
used.
the prosecutor compared it to the kind of injuries you see it, in a major car crash.
Mm.
It appeared the baby had been violently shaken and repeatedly hit off some kind of hard surface, such as a floor or a wall. Nicole blamed, which was obviously interviewed by police, blamed another child in the flat, but she was found guilty at the High Court in Glasgow. There was other disturbing evidence where the baby's grandmother talked about being on the phone to Nicole Blain and hearing a terrible piercing scream from the baby and urging her to call an ambulance. Actually, the injuries were compared to a car crash. Nicole Blain denied harming the baby, but she was found guilty. The judge murder carries a mandatory life sentence. Normally, the person's sentenced there and then, but the judge has asked, I think, for some reports. What the judge will do is, as well as issuing the life sentence, is set a tariff. So that's the minimum term you must serve before you even be considered for parole. Had she pled guilty, then it would have been a lesser sentence in terms of the tariff. It's still been a life sentence, but all options are open to the judge. And I would imagine that when she is sentenced, the actual tariff, the term she must serve, the punishment part of the sentence will be quite substantial.
Yeah, of course. And looking at that, pleading guilty wasn't a table for her. That's what she's went and gone the direction she wanted to. But a particularly disturbing detail of this was Blaine's social media presence following the death of Thea. Some saw it as attention seeking, some saw it as playing a part.
Yeah, this has emerged, following the conviction, we're able to report these things, that she seemed to be very active on social media, both before the birth of her daughter and afterwards, after the death of her daughter. And some of the video footage which we've seen was a kind of baby reveal party. She was, I think there was reported the fact that she seemed quite aggressive at the party. She seemed to be annoyed. There was some photographs of a kind of attempting to kind of stab a balloon. She's then seen storming off, but not before. She stuck her middle finger up at the camera. It didn't seem to be particularly pleasant. And then more afterwards, there was a series of disturbing social media videos in which she ranted about missing her daughter, told police to stop discussing her death. Seemed a lot of attention seeking. She had various rants. She hit out others discussing the death publicly, saying she should be the one to address any questions. So it seemed to be, somebody who there was stuff appeared on videos appeared on TikTok. So after the death of her daughter, she seemed quite happy to post these these videos on social media and talk quite openly about the case.
Yeah, and obviously looking at the details of the case, I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers will be keeping an eye on the eventual outcome once it comes.
Yeah, I mean, another thing she said was she described the death of her baby as an unexpected tragedy, which, that's, I mean, you could say about anything, it's it's more than a tragedy,
Yeah,
it's a horrific.
personally, when you look at the hindsight and what we know now, very disturbing to see that those lengths were gone to try and cover our tracks.
Yeah, at the time she was under the investigation by the police, it was a a horrific crime. It was more than a tragedy. It was the death was terrible injuries that the baby had suffered. I think most people would keep a low profile, but she'd be quite happy to share her thoughts and on the incident and discuss the incident, with the public and the social media.